Good evening and welcome to all the commissioners and the staff and those of you who are in the audience and those of you who are home watching us on your TV. I'd like to call our meeting to order. And Ms. Huggins, will you do the invocation, please? And Mr. Fitzpatrick, if you'll do the pledge. Thank you.
Bow our head. Dear Lord, we thank you for these blessings. We thank you for these gatherings. We ask that you direct us to make the right decision for the citizens of Pitt County. These and all blessed we ask in Jesus' name. Say amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair, it's been omitted from your agenda, but if you would do a roll call for purposes of our system.
Oh, okay, thank you. I should have already done that. If you will please count yourself as present. Okay, thank you. And we have our Commissioner Glen Webb with us tonight, and we're going to present him. Oh, thank you very much. I need a lot of help tonight. I don't know where my brain is. Okay, I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda. We've got a motion. Is there a second?
I wonder if we could delete item 6 from the items of consent. Madam Chair.
Delete
or
them?
just take it off. Just take it off. Pull it, number 6, and talk about that another time under items for consent.
I would second that.
Okay. All right, all in favor, let's vote, please.
Clicker.
Okay. Now, we can get on with our presentation. If you'll join us down here in front, I would like to entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
I second. I just think we need to roast
Chairman,
them.
can we do the second one as well? Because we'll be done for 2 of them. The second
Oh,
resolution.
yes, and if you will also do one, include in that motion the resolution for Alan Everette.
So be it.
Okay?
Second.
Now let's vote on both. Okay. Now can we go down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. How long does that mean you can't read?
Yes, he can get up and go. He's got a time, yeah.
Is how you vote on it? Yes. Sometimes you will vote on an amendment and then vote on an amended agenda. Voting on an amended agenda.
I call him a roast.
Get here.
Okay.
I hate this microphone.
Madam Chairman, you want to introduce this,
Okay.
or?
Well, we'll just say that, I'll start by saying that, how long have we served together, Glenn, on the commissioners?
Like 50 years.
Seems like forever, doesn't it?
8 years.
Thank goodness, 8 years. And we hate to see you go, but we know that you have made a decision, you've changed your job, your position, you've moved, your wife has a new position, and we're excited for you and what's in front of you, but we will miss you a lot and the work that you've done for Pitt County. And we have a resolution for you, and I'm going to ask the manager to read it.
All right. Resolution entitled, Office of the Pitt County Board of Commissioners, Resolution of Appreciation Honoring Glen T. Webb. Whereas Glen Webb has served faithfully and honorably as a Pitt County Commissioner from December 2010 to February 2019. Whereas Glen Webb served as Chairman of the Board of Commissioners in 2015 and served as Vice Chairman in 2014 and 2018. And whereas Glen Webb has, through his attentiveness and devotion, exhibited concern for all improvement of the quality of life for all citizens of Pitt County. And whereas the Board of Commissioners expresses their appreciation to Glen Webb for his guidance, organization, leadership skills, and commitment to service during his tenure as a commissioner. Whereas Glen Webb has been an integral part of Pitt County government by serving on various boards and committees such as the Pitt County Nursing Home / Adult Care Community Advisory Committee, Shepherd Memorial Library Board, Board of Equalization and Review, and to the Pitt County Firemen's Association as liaison. And whereas Glen Webb's during his tenure, the county has implemented the following projects and initiatives: building security improvements for various county facilities, publication of the first popular annual financial report, otherwise known as the PAFR, the Candlewick Area Sanitary Sewer District project to provide sanitary sewer to the area, the Stepping Up Initiative goal addressing mental health concerns within the detention center with its detainees, the Radio and Paging Communication Project, both Phase 1 and Phase 2, the Pitt County designation by the American Planning Association, otherwise known as the APA, for the 2017 Great Places in America at the County Home Complex. Next one being the Backup 911 Center, and then lastly, major project, the Woodmore Subdivision Road Improvement Project. Whereas during Glen Webb's tenure as commissioner, he served as the 99th president of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and in 2018, he served as chairman of the National Association of Counties Justice and Public Safety Committee. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Pitt County Board of Commissioners does hereby commend Glen T. Webb for providing stalwart and able leadership and diligent service to the board and to the citizens of Pitt County during his tenure as a commissioner. Adopted this 18th day of February 2019, signed by our chairman, Beth B. Ward, and by our clerk, Kimberly W. Hines. Madam Chairman.
Would you like to say a few words?
Very few.
FEW.
Yes. What Scott didn't read at the bottom, it says make sure you turn in your keys to the clerk before leaving tonight. But this has been a real honor. The work we've done has been the most important thing. It's not the position, it's the things you get to do for the people and the feedback we've gotten from the citizens on the things that we've done. And that's the great thing about this level of government, is it's not about what side you're on, it's about who you're working for. And that's why anyone that gets to serve in these positions is really, they get to grow more than they get to enjoy a title, because it really is about the work, not elections and not the position. So we've got a great staff, we've got a great commissioners, and Pitt County will move right along, and it'll keep rising. I'm very proud to have been a part of it. So thank you all for your support and your time.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman. Beth.
Oh, yeah.
One more.
You're right now.
You could ask Alan Everett to come forward.
That's why I didn't want to do that, because he's leaving.
We don't have to do that.
We don't.
Yeah.
T stands for.
Terrific.
We're not going to give you this, because I'm not going to.
Welcome. Madam Chairman?
Yes, please.
This is a resolution honoring Alan Everett for his years of service with Pitt County government. I think as the general public knows, Alan is retiring as of the end of this month, and we would like to honor him and recognize him with this resolution. Whereas Alan Everett was hired July 5th, 2005 in the position of Deputy Director / Fire Marshal with the Department of Emergency Management of Pitt County. Whereas Alan Everett became Interim Director of Emergency Management on July 3rd, 2016, and became Director of Emergency Management in August of 2016. Whereas Alan Everett has served a total of 30 years and 4 months in public service, and whereas Alan Everett has served the citizens of Pitt County for 13 years and 8 months. Whereas as Pitt County's EOC, which stands for the Emergency Operations Center, as the Director / Coordinator, Alan Everett led Pitt County through 2 major hurricane responses, that being Hurricane Matthew in 2016 and Hurricane Florence in 2018. Whereas Alan Everett, along with the volunteer fire departments, creating the Warming Station Initiative, which means in case of extreme cold weather, volunteer fire stations may be asked to open their doors for citizens in the area that have lost power and need temporary shelter from the cold. And whereas Alan Everett was instrumental in the second phase and final completion of the 911 Radio and Paging Project, the completion of the 911 Backup Center, funding for senior paramedic positions, and a peak time EMS unit. Whereas Alan Everett, in collaboration with the Public Information Office, created a new logo called, quote unquote, One Family, One Focus, to incorporate all first responders in Pitt County. Whereas Alan Everett fostered the improved relations between Pitt County government and the fire and EMS community during his tenure. Whereas under Alan Everett's leadership, Pitt County began the community paramedic program in collaboration with Vidant Health Services. Now therefore it be resolved that the Pitt County Board of Commissioners does hereby express its gratitude and thanks to Alan Everett for his career of dedicated and exemplary service to the people of Pitt County and honor him with this resolution of appreciation given under our hands and the seal of Pitt County this 18th day of February 2019, adopted this 18th day of February 2019, signed by our Chairman Beth B. Ward and by the Clerk Kimberly W. Hans.
Sure. Thank you, Board. Thank you for this. This is very humbling to receive something like this. I really do appreciate it. Those things that you heard read were not things of Alan Everett, but they were things of teamwork, of all of us working together. So it really does take us all working together to accomplish anything. You know, as I look around the room here, I see a lot of our partners. If our finance, our legal folks, our planning department, our engineering, our DSS, our human resources, legal, our clerk, you know, our elected officials. It truly does take all of us working together. And I hope I didn't leave anyone out. If I did, I apologize. Pat's, it takes all of us working together to accomplish anything. But we always need to remember our volunteers, our emergency services community, those fire, those EMS individuals, those 911 folks, the law enforcement. It truly does take all of us working together. My only hope is that we'll continue to move the organization forward. I appreciate everything, and as I'm saying that, I see that I apologize, Mike. I overlooked our deputy county manager as well as our MIS guy, so I do apologize. But again, it does truly take all of us working together. Public information. Thank you all for everything that you've done. I'm just retiring. I'm still here, so if there's ever anything I can do to help, please let me know. But again, thank you all very much. That is recorded, right? Thank you.
We got that on recording that we can free. Thank you, Alan.
You bet. You bet.
That's what I interpreted. Okay, our next item on our agenda is our public addresses to the board. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, ma'am. We have Robert O'Neill. If he'll come forward, please. Give his name and address for the record.
And if you will give the information, Madam Attorney.
Yes, Pitt County welcomes all comments on matters of public concern. I will keep your time at 3 minutes per speaker.
Thank you.
Commissioners meeting, explaining about my son with special needs and the problems that he has with the noise coming from the landfill. Mr. Colson spoke up about that and said we're going to come up with a compromise. Since the meeting, some people in Allenton Ridge has gotten up with me. They all believe that it's construction from the road that's going to be gone. I tell them no. But this is a compromise that the county come up with, is to stop the noise from 7 p.m. on a Saturday until 7 a.m. on the Mondays. That's ridiculous. And that's from the lawyer's office of the county in Translow, who rents property from the county and makes all this noise and ruckus back there. I told her and sent her an email stating that I wanted to know, well, in the letter that she sent me, says that they would stop the grinding and the noise from 7 p.m. on Saturdays until 7 a.m. on Mondays, except for the case of an emergency. I sent her an email back February 6th asking her what would an emergency conclude of for a lime and fertilizer and grinding operation. I never got a response back. I also asked her what was the county's definition of a nuisance, because it says in their contract that they will not be a nuisance to the surrounding land. Again, from the lawyer, county lawyer, I got no response back since February 6th. I did get a response back today right before the meeting from Mr. Elliott, and I am planning on meeting with him on Wednesday. But I just like to know for the people of this county to know that the county does not have our back. The county is not out for what's best for them. I mean, for us as the public, they're out for what's best for them because they make money off of Transload, so they have no restrictions on them. They put restrictions on everybody else, dog grooming businesses, sand mining business, and every other business, but when the county makes money, they have no restrictions on them. CSX train engines run continuously. County steps in. I don't know if anything's been concluded of it, but the county was mad because they leave their trains running. I guarantee you this noise is 10 times or 20 times louder than a locomotive sitting idling. Please, when I meet with you Wednesday, I hope, please come up with something. And again, I'm very disappointed, Ms. Gallagher, is that correct? Is that your last name?
Yes.
I did not get a response back from you.
Okay, thank you. And was that it?
Madam Chairman, that's it. And if I can just make a quick comment. We did have interaction with Mr. O'Neill, sent him a formal letter, and I think it was under my signature, actually. It wasn't even under legal signature, with the compromise we had worked out with Transload, which he would like a better compromise. And we did try to sit down and meet with him. Mr. O'Neill had a family situation where he could not meet and wanted to meet one day this week, and that's why I had reached out to him again today. I just want the board to know that we have been actively pursuing this with him and have not sat on it. We were, immediately after the last board meeting, we were reaching out to him.
Okay.
And the manager responded for both of us in that meeting request.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, I really don't want to do a back and forth, and we've already given you your allotted time. So, and you're going to meet with them, correct? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Croom from the tax office, how are you?
Doing very well. I'm glad to be with y'all tonight, Commissioners.
I'm glad to be here too.
Amen. Here's the January 2019 tax collection report. The Pitt County, the Pitt County fiscal year to date through January 31st, the combined collection rate for real and personal property is 95.58%. The combined rate for 1 year ago was 95.85%. We continue to pursue all outstanding taxes using all the necessary remedies that we have available to us.
Okay. Any questions? Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move that we accept and approve this report.
We've had a motion and a second to accept the report. If we'll vote now, please. Okay, and next, Brian Barnett, our financial report, please.
Good evening, Board, Madam Chair and Board. You have in front of you the monthly financial report ending January 31st, roughly 7 months of the fiscal year. We have collected 68.4% of anticipated revenues while spending 55.7% of budgeted expenses. Our revenue over expenses this month is quite different from last year due to two one-time large transactions that happened during the last fiscal year. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Move approval.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, let's vote, please. Thank you very much for a good job. And our manager's report, Mr.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes, ma'am. Items on the report are your next meeting dates. 2 meetings in the month of March, March 11th and March 25th, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. respectively. Item B is just to announce, make the board aware of the NACO Legislative Conference, the National Association of Counties, coming up March 2nd through 6th in 2019. This is in Washington, D.C., and the clerk has talked to the commissioners who will be attending. Item C, per your policy for recognizing people and events as such, we are announcing that a letter of recognition has been sent to Dr. MFG Gilliand, who is the forensic medicine and medical examiner for Pitt County, who is retired, and this is to recognize her service in that position on behalf of Pitt County. Item D is just kind of to let you know that regarding the emergency management director position, We will begin recruiting for that in the month of March, and we'll know more once we advertise and receive applications and have an interview panel and so forth when that will be filled. Item E is just to make a quick announcement regarding the PGV Airport Director. As the board and the public is aware, Betty Stansberry left the employment of the airport to go back to the West Coast to accept employment, and that was at the end of January, I believe. The PGV Airport Board has gone through an extensive advertising, interviewing process, and have hired Bill Hopper from Elmira, New York. He was the last Director of Aviation for the Elmira Corning Regional Airport, and will begin with the PGV Airport in the very near future.
Okay, so it will be soon?
Yes.
Okay.
Item F, the NCACC, which is the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, will hold district meetings. The closest one to us will be in Beaufort County on March the 12th, and that will be at 5 p.m., last from 5 to 8 p.m. And they've kind of changed the format and focus of the meetings. Rather than just being open meetings, receiving input from the counties, they're going to have a school safety focus at our particular meeting. So any commissioners who are interested in attending that, let me know, and we can take a van, or if you'd like to drive individually, however you would like to get there, but we'll get you signed up for that. Item G is regarding the County Commissioner District 6 resignation from Commissioner Glen Webb. That we now have that officially in writing, and that process will begin with the Republican Party of Pitt County making a nomination to you as the board for someone who is obviously registered Republican and for someone who resides in District 6. And then you have the prerogative to accept or reject that nomination or name somebody else, but obviously with the two, has to be with the two contingencies of Republican and residing in District 6. And Madam Attorney, is it 60 days the board has once that nomination comes forward? Off the top of my head.
I'll have to verify. I don't think so.
I meant to ask you that. I'm sorry.
Verify that and let the board know.
Okay.
Item H is just to make a quick announcement regarding the workshop, the next workshop on economic development. We have that scheduled for February 21st, this coming Thursday, starting at 4 o'clock here in this building in the EOC.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Colson.
I would like to make a motion that we, the Board of Commissioners, withdraw from the Convergence Public-Private Partnership and that effort, and keep the Pitt County Development Commission focused on industrial development like has been done in the past. Having said that, I would like to also ask that we continue with this meeting on Thursday such that we might start to look for ways to enhance that commission in the future.
Okay. The workshop on Thursday. Okay.
Yes, and that is a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Any comments?
Yes,
Okay.
Madam Chair. Respectfully, this commission has yet to hear from all interested parties with regards to the combined collaborative effort. As the elected officials who set policy for the county, that are responsible for the efficient use of the taxpayer dollars of the county, and as a partner with the economic development collaborative effort, it is incumbent on this commission to have all of the information before it moves in one direction or the other.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
My motion is that we table any vote to proceed or to not proceed with the collaborative effort until such time that we are presented with all information.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a second, and the order of voting, Madam Chair.
Start with the substitute motion first.
Okay. All those in.
I hit the button apparently by mistake.
You can hit it again until I close the voting. So you can, if you hit it again, it should show your intended vote.
What was his motion?
You can go back and forth on your vote until the voting closes.
Not proceed with
my motion.
The recommendation that he made.
Which are we voting on first?
We're voting on his substitute motion.
The substitute motion to table, making a decision on whether or not to proceed with the collaborative effort this evening.
Mr. Colson, if your vote does not reflect your actual vote, please say so.
What did you say, Mrs. Gallo?
Vote, press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Just
On
to
the
remind
substitute
the board.
motion, that's right.
Oh, okay. And a no vote is against what he said.
Do you want the motion repeated one more time, Madam Chairman?
No, I think we got it, didn't
Okay.
we? Okay.
Or the substitute
Everyone
motion, I'm
has
sorry,
voted.
the substitute motion.
My vote is correct.
Okay, the vote fails. So now you'll vote on your,
Okay, so now we'll vote on the first motion made by Mr. Colson. We have to wait for the screen to clear.
got it?
Can we repeat that, please?
Okay.
Do you want me to go through it again?
The original motion is to no longer participate with the Convergent Group and focus on enhancing the existing Industrial Development Commission in order to increase industrial jobs and tax base, and to continue to meet on Thursday with the special called meeting.
And
Yes.
focus on that.
Yes.
Okay.
But we would still, is the meeting on Thursday tied into this motion?
No, he was just
Yeah,
saying.
okay,
Only
got it,
saying-
okay,
only
thank
saying
you,
that
okay,
If
thank
my
you.
motion
Yes.
passes, I think we still
We
ought to
should
meet
still go on
for
with
the-
what he said.
on
So,
the-
so, and if I might, the purpose of the Thursday workshop was to hear from Ron Mitchelson, who is
No.
the provost for.
That was your purpose. That was
That was
not
my
mine.
purpose
Yeah.
to put on the agenda so that this
Right.
commission could hear from a very valuable partner in economic development in our region, East Carolina University, who is one of the largest employers in this county. I feel that it is important that we hear from all players in the partnership before we decide whether or not to proceed or not. The purpose of the meeting on Thursday is to hear from one of those important members of the proposed collaborative partnership and to hear from one of the most well-respected economic development minds in our region.
Is that me?
If this commission acts without hearing from our experts in the community, I feel that we're doing a disservice to the community.
Okay, we'll proceed on with our vote, and this is the vote that Tom made on the motion he made. Okay, so if you'll vote, please.
One is yes,
One
two
is to
is
withdraw.
no. One is yes, two is no.
One is.
One supports the motion, number two does not support the motion.
Okay.
That motion passes.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. We have items for consent. I'll entertain a motion to accept the items for consent. And which one did we take off?
Number 6.
6.
So without number 6.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Let's vote, please. Okay, and Jan Elliott, you're up next.
Let's see what page you're on there. Let's see here. 29.
Okay, you have before you an item. We are asking to apply for $81,000. This is actually an AmeriCorps grant so that we could work with students at ECU and provide internships that they could then get some reimbursement for. It's in conjunction with a grant that you've already authorized us to apply for. Obviously, if we don't get both grants, we won't be doing either one. But together, it makes a really good package to provide for the supervision, provide the support these students would need, as well as give them a small stipend, because one of the things that we understand is a real problem for students during their internships is that they can't work their second jobs, and it puts a real financial hardship on them. It will help us, if we are able to do this, to grow the number of students who are interested in doing social work at public social services agencies, which is not the first priority for many of the social work students because it's a really hard job. So it would give them some relief because of AmeriCorps for the school debt. It would give them some cash on hand, and it would allow us to grow a resource, I think, for social services agencies, either in Pitt County or in other counties if they're not from around here. So that's why we're asking to approve to apply for this grant.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Have we already voted for this?
You voted for the first part. There was one grant.
Oh, now.
This is a second part of the,
Okay.
this is the AmeriCorps part. The other part is supporting some other parts of the proposal, which would be the supervision, the supplies they would need, those kinds of things.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott. I saw the vote already, and I was wondering what was going on. I move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Let's vote, please. And we thank you for applying for these grants and seeing them through.
Go out and get some more money.
And I'm going to, I skipped number 1. I'll go back to that. Ms. Gallagher and Chris Barnes.
Yes, unfortunately, Chris Barnes, our risk manager, is not able to be with us tonight. But I wanted to present to you much of the work that he has done in selecting a third-party administrator for our workers' compensation program. As you know, as you may know, our workers' compensation program is a self-funded program, and we have contracted with a third-party administrator for administration of those claims. As is prudent to do from time to time, on November 30th of 2019, for fiscal reasons, we issued a request for proposals for third-party administration services for workers' compensation. We are currently using PMA companies since December of 2007. As a result of the request for proposal, you'll see in your packet a chart showing that we had 6 responses from 6 companies, and it lays out for you in a chart in your materials the responses from each of those companies. A selection committee was created to review each of these responses and to weight the responses based upon the criteria that was set forth in the RFP itself. As a result of those rankings, 3 companies were selected to come make presentations to the county. Those were Johns Eastern, BSI, and PMA. A selection committee reviewed further after those presentations and is recommending that the county use Johns Eastern as our third-party administrator for workers' compensation based upon their presentation and based upon them being the lowest cost provider for the services that are being offered.
Good. We appreciate the hard work in bringing this report. I'll entertain a motion to approve this selection.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If we'll vote, please. Okay. And our next is a reappointment to the Agriculture Advisory Board. Mr. Elliott.
Yes, you have a reappointment, a suggestion of Eddie James.
Move approval.
And this is a reappointment, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, let's vote, please. Okay, and our next item is a closed session. And Madam Attorney, if you will take us into closed session.
Yes, it has been suggested that this board go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3, attorney-client privilege, to consult with an attorney employed by the public body in order to preserve that attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, and also pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent the disclosure of confidential information. If you will so move.
Okay. I entertain a motion to go into closed session. We have a motion, you second. Okay. Let's vote, please, to go into closed session. And we'll ask for the people in the audience if they will excuse us, please, when we go into closed session. Welcome back after our closed session, and we are going to start down here. Let's let you finish up. We'll start down here with you, Mike, with commissioners' comments, if you have any.
I don't have any at this point.
Okay.
I got some.
Ms. Huggin?
No comment.
Okay.
No comments at this point.
Okay.
No, thank you.
None?
Yes, I have some I want to read if you don't mind.
Okay.
I want to thank the citizens for picking up the trash in front of their properties. Just remember that no one wants to build a business or establish one in a trash dump or a junk pile. So continue to handle your trash appropriately by putting the trash in the can. On a second note, on behalf of the residents of Pitt County District 2, I want to give a big shout out to the Bowen family. Thank you so very much for going to establish a point of service in our district by opening another investment property called Wash House. We are so happy to have a wash house on the north side of the river. Thank you to the Bowen family. It is located at Food Line Shopping Center on Easy Street. We got a business over there that we all like, and I'm delighted. The customers should be mindful, though, to treat the business with respect and dignity. Keep it clean and well obtained, and spend your money. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
No comments.
Okay.
I just want to say that I know that was an inspiration to you all. And,
oh, yes, indeed.
Every one of you will be missed. The people we served with before changes will also be missed, and I'll miss the staff as well. We have an excellent staff. You know, the biggest benefit of being the president of the association was I got to travel around, and truly this county has a world-class staff. So, and that's really who does most of the work. You know, we kind of set the vision, but the staff does the work, and we're very fortunate to have every employee, and that's from management staff to every single department. So we're extremely fortunate in this county to have people dedicated to this work. And so it's been wonderful. I will miss you all. If you want to play some golf, come see me in Pinehurst. I can get you connected with a good rate. And but don't be strangers. I'm going to change my phone number. Some of you might get it. Some of you might not. If you text me and don't answer back, you know what happened. And, but no, really, it's truly been an honor. And I feel like, we're family with everybody. So thank you for the past 8 years.
I'm going to miss looking at the socks.
I'm going to miss hearing about trash heaps.
We'll miss you, Glenn, and thank you so much for your work for Pitt County. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Madam Chair, before the motion to adjourn, I would like to raise a point of order with Commissioner Colson's motion, an item of business placed on the agenda without being placed on beforehand, and would like to have this discussion with the commission. 2 opportunities for the item of business to withdraw from the Collaborative Economic Development Partnership, according to our rules, could have been placed on the agenda prior to this meeting, could have been raised at the approval of our agenda, number 4, of which the commission approved, and was raised during and into the depth of our items for decision. I would propose to this commission, while I'm new, that to do business, the public's business, without full disclosure of what decisions will be made when they involve important policy decisions, without ample opportunity to hear from our partners, without ample opportunity to hear from the Pitt County Development Commission, who is the commission in this case, is the commission that's directly charged by this commission and appointed by this commission to recommend action of this board prior to place an item to decision without giving the public and the commission an opportunity to be heard flies in the face of the whole reason we have an agenda. If we're going to have items for discussion at this meeting for the public to comment on, it needs to be put there according to the rules. And frankly, to allow this type of decision to move forward without public discussion, without approval prior to the meeting, without going through the agenda review, which we have as a part of our process, and without, after we've approved the agenda, I think flies in the face of what we all stand for, which is transparency in government, that we are responsible stewards to our constituencies. And if we, as a commission, move forward with items for decision without them being appropriately placed on the calendar, we're reverting to a government of surprise and trickery. And that is a dangerous proposition and a dangerous precedent for this commission to set. I argue that the motion was out of order
Who is the
and inappropriately made.
liaison?
And I ask, and I make my motion that we table until such time that if Commissioner Colson would like to place the item on the agenda, that we move that it be appropriately placed on the next agenda on March 11th, so that the appropriate public discussion can be had, and the parties that are party to the discussion can be made, and the commissioners can be made aware of it. It's the first I've heard about it, that we were going to make this decision tonight. And that's the reason why I have an agenda, is it not?
Yes, sir.
His motion he's making now, was that not something we already voted on and defeated?
The point of order is not what we argued on.
Did I do anything wrong or illegal according to our processes?
No, so during reviewing your rules of procedure here as we speak again, and so whenever you have a regularly scheduled meeting, any item can be put on a regular agenda. A special meeting agenda is limited to just those items that are advertised for a special meeting or for an emergency meeting. This item was not on as an item for decision, but was listed as an item within the manager's report. And so the topic was brought up. If it was not on there, I think it could still have been brought up as an item during a regular agenda meeting. And so if I am not citing exactly your spots, it's because I was not prepared to answer that question, but I don't need any additional preparation to necessarily know that whenever you have a regularly scheduled meeting, any item of business can come up at any time, whether that be through commissioners' comments or at any point during the meeting, whether it is on the agenda or not. You have an approved agenda, and we have a process for approving an agenda. But it would be my opinion that in terms of the point of order, that it was appropriate. I think there is another process for reconsideration of motions or that were made, and that process is set forth in detail in your rules, and it requires a member on the prevailing side of a motion to have a time period and opportunity to remake that motion. And so your rules do not allow a non-prevailing member to remake the same motion.
Well, and respectfully, I would argue that for report is the workshop on economic development, and I would argue that that is a narrowly tailored item that our manager would have reported on. I think that it's not reasonable to expect that the commissioners would somehow divine that we would be placed before us the very important decision of whether or not we will withdraw or proceed with the economic development partnership.
I have a question.
Let me finish asking another question, Janice, if you don't mind, since I already asked her that question.
I don't mind you.
Have we, or have we not, many, many times in the past, done similar things as this, where somebody hears something, there's something, an item comes up, and they make a motion, and the motion passes?
At a regular board meeting, yes.
I would also like to say that this board has not voted to support the convergent plan at all. We were brought into it very late, the plan, and I don't think this is the place to discuss this. The convergent plan was worked on for 1 year by primarily 4 people, along with the Mrs. Morfitz, who was the director of the establishing the plan. And until we asked to bring in other people to the table, that was the first time the plan was heard by anyone, and it had already been written and finalized. So what we have said is that by the majority vote, that we're going to move on with our development commission, focusing on industry for Pitt County, which is what we have been, and we've been very successful at it. And in our upcoming workshop, hopefully we're going to have a very effective workshop in which we'll come up with some ideas and some plans to improve and grow our industrial commission as we have it. So with that said,
may I ask
yes,
a question?
ma'am.
I have a statement and a question, if you don't mind.
No, ma'am.
I've been on the board a little bit longer than you. That had nothing to do with it. I didn't hear about this convergence until not long ago as a commissioner and at the table. I want to say that to you. But I have a question of you, because you seem very passionate about it, and I can understand that. Did you ask to put it on the agenda?
I asked that we place the report from the Pitt County Development Commission, which is the commission that's tasked with recommending direction on industrial development in the county. I asked that that be placed on for today's meeting. I asked that we hear from Ron Mitchelson in writing on today's meeting. I asked that we hear from Wanda Uhas, which is our acting economic development director for the county, on this meeting. After being approached about some concerns about being able for the commissioners to hear from everyone regarding the economic development partnership, so that everyone could kind of get their heads around it, what it means. and if it's going to be a good decision for the county or not. I agreed that it was probably best to put this on a workshop on the 21st, which is what we were set to have on Thursday, so that we could hear from the Pitt County Development Commission, which is directed that that has a direction, that they've had a resolution that's not been before this commission yet, but they have a resolution that we've not read about what the way that they would like to see us go. They have a recommendation. Ron Mitchelson, who is the provost of East Carolina University,
I don't know who that is.
He is the person that would offer our commission his professional opinion about what is the best move forward. And he is also prepared to offer what East Carolina University's view is about what the best view forward is. We also have our acting director that has yet had an opportunity to address or endorse or not endorse the county being a part of a collaborative effort for economic development. So, with that being said, tonight what happened is that we had a commissioner, I would argue, respectfully, make a motion totally out of right field, unannounced to any of the other commissioners, at least not to me, about an item that is of seminal importance for this county and the direction. So I'm not saying that we do it or not do it, but what I am saying is that if we are going to accept as precedent for this commission to have items of policy decision made without being appropriately placed on the agenda, I think we're in for some trouble. And I think that we need to weigh that heavily as we move forward as a commission. Regardless if you support it or not, it's not arguable that we have not heard from many of the partners before our commission, and I think that's what we're tasked to do, is to listen.
Thank you very much for but as far as I'm concerned, I just wanted to know how you went about it, because if you ask for something, I just need a full clarification. If you ask appropriately to have something put on the agenda and did not get it put on the agenda, that I would have concern about. And the next thing I want you to know is I didn't have any information. I didn't have any knowledge, and I didn't have any, I've heard Janice, not Janice, what's her name? Wanda Yuha speak on it a couple of times, once before you were on the board. I want you to know that. And that's what I heard. But when I got my paperwork, as I say to the residents of this, of my community when they come to me, where is your documentation? And when I opened up my little book on this convergence, there was a lot of information presented as if the decision was made. And that bothered me personally. That's the kind of person I am. I can't read between lines, and I can't read minds. I have to read what I see, and that's the way I operate, because I like to be fair to everyone. And so I saw a lot of stuff in the document that I had questions about, but I also know that this board is charged with, legally, the responsibility of economic development. And I checked that out beyond Janice Gallagher. Thank you. No disrespect. I do respect her very much. But this board is responsible legally. Is that right, Ms. Gallagher?
Yes, yes.
With economic development. So I just want you to know where I stand as a member of this board. And I feel the emotion and compassion, but I wanted you to know I just took an honest vote on my feelings about that. And I didn't hear any of that.
Ms. Williams, the focus of my disagreement here is not whether or not you agree or disagree.
Okay.
My focus is that, and you said it yourself, we have not been presented all the information, and to act on it without the information, without it being placed on the agenda, without the public being able to be here to comment on it, I think is irresponsible.
Well, just in response to that, and then I think we'll adjourn if we get the motion. None of us had seen the convergent plan until the commissioners said, we can't commit the full amount, and that was in the plan for all of the taxpayers' money that we have for development was put into Convergent, and not one commissioner knew about it until it was a final document. And that was one of the many concerns, but there were many other ones. So with that said, Madam Attorney, you've heard what's been said. If there's anything we need to do other than that, we will adjourn, and we will our next meeting will be on Thursday for our workshop. And where's that going to be held?
EOC, County Office Building.
Downstairs in the EOC meeting room. Thank you.
I move that we
Do you want
adjourn.
to entertain a motion for your closed session minutes?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
please. We have our,
I make a motion that we approve the January 7th closed session minutes as to the content only.
I second.
okay, let's vote, please.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
if I'm in order, I move that we adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We can stand, and that will indicate yes votes.
Thank you.
Thank you.